everybody, it's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore
coming at ya. And
no Joa today.
Yeah, no Joa today, but I'm so glad that
he did amazing, right?
Yes, he did.
Amazing.
He loved all the comments that everybody left, and it was just really awesome.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we are back today, and we have a really awesome word to share with you guys. Really, Devin will have
understatement
the most of it to share, but
so I'm like, okay, Lord, here we go.
But yeah, before we get into that, we just want to give a huge thank you to everyone who continues to support us.
Yes,
we appreciate all of you. Couldn't do this without you. And we are support based, and actually right now we're kind of at a time where we're really needing some extra support. If you're on a gas tank,
we're close to E right now.
We're getting close to E, but we know that the Lord will
puttering.
provide. and
puttering. Anyway, go ahead.
So much for not interrupting.
I tried. I go and flow. I flow and I go.
So anyway, but yeah, so if you can help support us, we'd really appreciate it. And we have a PayPal.
A pink pal? Pink pal. Okay.
A PayPal link below.
I could put some of this in the blooper reel at the end.
You could.
I could. No, I'm just kidding.
And you can just click that. And so why don't we're going to just go ahead and just come and just start sharing with what the Lord had
really, really cool
to share.
All right. Well, this is how I'm going to do this. I'm going to help you guys out. Okay. I'm going to help you. I'm just going to share the word. And if you want to know more about the word, you can continue to watch the video because there's a whole story to it, and it's really, really cool. Okay? But the word the Lord gave me was, it's time. Okay? And basically in reference to the pregnancy process and the birth and everything, and I'm just like, okay, it's time. And then toward the end, I'm going to give you just the summation, just in case you have a busy schedule and you don't have a time for no 57 minute video. It says, the Lord himself is getting ready to pick us up and remove us and carry us away through the gate and the front door of his house into his royal palace, into his court. Get ready to live like kings. Get ready to be clothed with power from on high. Get ready to be lifted up and elevated. A higher rank in the kingdom of God. Then God gave me 3 names: Mordecai, Joseph, David. The fulfillment of many visions, promises fulfilled, desires granted, dreams born. The patiently waiting no longer. And so that was the gist of what we're going to talk about. Because we've been in this pregnancy promise process, and it's like nothing's been born yet, and we're sitting there going, there's so much to say about it, but the bottom line is like, wow, okay. And so basically the Lord told me last night, it's time. And so that's the gist of it. Even everything that I just wrote there is like, if you click in the description box, it's all written right in there if you want to just read that. But if you want to know the whole story, keep watching, because we're storytellers. The Lord put us on hold so we can tell stories this way. But anyway, you're still here. Okay, well, that's good. So yesterday was a hard day. It was a difficult day because nothing's happened yet in this whole pregnancy promise process thing that God's been doing. Like, nothing has happened. No, nothing. Hello, are you in there?
Yeah.
Did he move today? Anything? Have you felt anything? We're way beyond that point. We're like, maybe you need to go to the chiropractor, get an adjustment. Sometimes that helps motivate things. It's like, well, how do you do that in the spirit? It's just like, well, you don't want to manipulate no matter how it comes. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, and so yesterday was a super difficult day. We're not going to get into all that, but it was like, there was a lot of tears. There was a lot of things going on, and just like, oh God, why? Stuff like that. And like, we're just wondering, like, Lord, what's happening? That was the gist of the question, was like what's going on, Lord? And and the Lord basically was just like with us in the process, and he was really comforting and encouraging and speaking, kindly to us and everything. It's just like, okay, cool, And so, end of the night, I'm trying to really recap this. You don't think so, but trust me, I am. Am I telling the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. So by the end of the night, God speaks to us constantly through prophetic numbers and the language of numbers. And last night, I just happened to just randomly look up on the computer, and it was 11:55, which I have been getting for days now. Been seeing that 11:55, which for us references Isaiah 55:11. Sometimes that's what you also do with numbers. You have to flip them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You flip-flop them. Every time we see 11:52, we think of Isaiah 52:11.
Mm-hmm.
If the Lord's doing that, sometimes that'll come up on our... It's almost
Which
like
is funny because both those scriptures a lot of the scriptures that we have that actually are reversed are literally scriptures speaking about reversing. Coming out of captivity.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's and even the 55:11
yeah.
is talking about really that the voice of the Lord is going to come and do what he said it was going to do, which would bring a reversing to your situation.
Which means those who are waiting for it, that's what they were doing. They were waiting in their current situation that they need to have reversed or that they need to have changed.
Yeah.
They're excited about that word of God fulfilled. Okay, where is it? Well, they're waiting for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I got that. I saw that time and I was like, oh man, that really jumps out at me. That's the Lord saying, hey, look at And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab it, and we screenshot and we save a lot of these things that we see when we see it online. And right then, I can't explain it to you in the way that it happened to me, but I'm gonna do my best. It was like the Lord just came to me. He was like, it's time. It was just that soft. It was just that simple. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. He's like, it's time, like the birth. It's time for the birth to happen. And right away, I was like, no, this is not the Lord. See, you thought I was going to get excited, didn't you? No, I was not. I was just like, oh, man. It's like you hear something like that. For me personally, when I hear something like that, man, it's just like, oh, you done drug me into the octagon. You done drug me in. Now I got to wonder, is this the Lord or is this not the Lord? Because, man, it really was like, it felt very, 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 very much like the Lord. And you're just like, it's time. It was so sudden, and it was just like, boom. I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about promise, process, anything. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just like, I was thinking about, should I watch my show right now or should I go to bed? You know what I mean? Because sometimes I stay up and watch a show, episode or two, and I didn't really want to get into it. I really didn't want this. I didn't want to be like, why is it a struggle? Because, man, it's time. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
When you say it's time, that means something is starting and you can't stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you want that to happen. You want to see that happen, but you don't want to give your heart into something that's going to be like, yay, ooh, this is happening, and then it's not really happening, and now you're really just disappointed, and there's pain in the process. It's like, Lord, we've had so much pain in this process. We've submitted ourselves to basically to heart death over and over and over again, and it's like, I'm really not interested. I don't really want to go through this, but it's like I had to. How can I not?
Yeah.
It's like, no. I'm not going to be afraid. After about 5 minutes of wrestling, I'm like, well, I'm not going to be afraid. Lord, if this is you, then just make it known.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it known. What was it like when we were trying the 40 bags of tea, and then you went and you got your chiropractor thing? We gave up. And that day you went and you got your chiropractor adjustment when you were like, 41 weeks and
exactly.
1 day into the pregnancy with Isaiah. And you went and you got your adjustment that day, and then you went to bed, and it was just like, okay, well, I guess we're going to go another day.
Day.
He's going to come eventually, I guess. And then you did tell him how you called my name. How did you do it?
I was just like, Devin.
Right there. Yes, exactly. Just like that. That never happens.
Yeah.
That call right there, I knew right then. I'm like, whoa. She needs something. That's an alert call right there.
Yeah, because you were still up and I had gone. I had only been
on the computer, checking supercars or something. You know?
Yeah, I had only been in bed for like an hour, and it was just like, oh, it's time.
Yep.
Like
water broke.
Yeah.
Yep. See, that's the thing. And I'm just like, whoa. And then I just went, I don't know what I did, but I just knew right then. I was like, oh, this is it. So see, once that process begins, you can't have like I thought the water was breaking, my bad. It's like, no, what, did you pee on yourself? No, that would be a lot of pee. I know I'm getting a little PG-13 right here, but I'm just saying, like when the water breaks, it's quite a bit. You know, and it's unmistakable is what I'm saying. It's just like, and you don't break, the water doesn't break and be like, oh, whoops, the baby's actually not coming, my bad. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, I don't want to hear this word, it's time, and then be like, well, this is what I really meant by that, and you're going to have to wait another 7 years or something. This is what it really meant. This is what I was really talking about. And I was like, because that's been kind of the off and on struggle, this whole pregnancy process, right? It's like, Lord, man, please don't, I don't want to die in here. You know what I mean? I don't want to get crushed in here. Please tell us the truth. I don't care what we look like on our YouTube channel. I don't care if we look dumb. I don't care if we lose all of our subscribers, our support, or whatever. I don't care. I just want to know the truth.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, and not only that, you don't want to be telling the body of Christ stuff that's like, woo, exciting, highfalutin stuff that's not real. Yeah. That's not right either. And so there's a ton of like little threads of French braids of stuff going on that happen in the heart, particularly when you're in our situation. And it's just like, it's just so much. And so to get that one word, it's time. Man, it did a lot to me. It triggered a cataclysm of issues, and I'm just like, well, Lord, if it's you, it's you. And I literally heard nothing else the rest of the night. It was just that it's time. And I kept getting a couple little resonations. Is that a word? Resonation of that word. It's time. Just like, I was like, okay. And then so I went to sleep, and then I would get up a couple different times. But one time when I got up, I got this word. Gasp and pant together. Gasp and pant together. And I was like, whoa. I was like, I know that's in the scripture. I've heard that before. And I was like, oh, whatever. I'm still struggling with it. There's still a tug of war going on inside, right? Yeah. And so I'm like, whatever. I'm just going back to bed. And I went back to bed, and I literally could not get back to sleep. Yeah. I'm just like, whatever. No, you know what? Fine. I'll look it up later. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? That's what was going on. And I was just like, I cannot sleep. I can't let go of this. I have to get up and get to this thing. Talk about fear and trembling. That's what's been going on with me. So I got up this morning at like 7 o'clock, sat at the computer. I typed in gasp and pant together in the Bible search thingy. Okay. And it came up Isaiah 42:14. And it says, thus says the Lord, I have for a long time held my peace. I have been still and restrained myself. That means everyone else was being, the righteous people of God, they had to have been still and restraining themselves as well, because if God's not moving, you can't move without God. You know what I mean? So that means this remnant that God's been training and bringing up, that's what we've been doing. We've been waiting and restraining ourselves, just holding back. Holding back from the vision, holding back from pursuing the dream, holding back from all these things, because it's like, well, we can't do it without the Lord. The Lord said, wait in the upper room until you receive the promise. Once you receive the promise, then you can go. What you going to do? Get tired? I'm tired of waiting for the promise. I'm just going to go. Well, good luck. Good luck trying to perform miracles without the power of God. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to work. So it's like he's held his peace and restrained himself. But then he says in the next sentence, now I will cry out like a woman in travail. That's a very specific picture of a woman giving birth. He says, I will gasp and pant together. So that's verse 14. But then the Lord kind of took me through 13 through 16. So I'll just read that and then kind of maybe go and touch on some points. And you can interrupt whenever you want. says, the Lord will go forth like a mighty man. He will rouse up his zealous indignation and vengeance like a warrior. He will cry, yes, he will shout aloud. He will do mightily against his enemies. Thus says the Lord, I have for a long time held my peace. I have been still and restrained myself. Now I will cry out like a woman in travail. I will gasp and pant together. I will lay waste the mountains and hills and dry up all their herbage. I will turn the rivers into islands, and I will dry up the pools. And I will bring the blind by a way that they know not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness into light before them and make uneven places into a plain. These things, hear this, these things I have determined to do for them. Now listen, if God determines to do something, who's going to stop him? Thank you. These things I have determined to do for them, and I will not leave them forsaken. Now, was there anything that jumped out at you that you wanted to touch on, or you want me to just keep going?
You can just keep going.
Okay, well, this word, the Lord will go forth at the top, verse 13. That word forth, we've gotten a ton. The Lord's, he's worked that in our hearts over the past couple years, and going forth. Even before we moved to Nashville. This whole journey, this whole weird journey that we've been on, you're going to go forth. You're going to go forth. And then you study the word, you see triple eights. We'd be seeing triple eights all the time for a long time there. Yeah. It's like, what is going on? What's the triple eight, Lord? Just show us. Well, when you look up the word forth, like to go forth or F-O-R-T-H, it's in the Bible 888 times. And it's just like, wow, you're going to go forth into the manifestation of a new beginning, because 8 means new beginning. And when you see a triple number, it means the manifestation, meaning you're going to see it. Yeah. It's going to be seen. So there's going to be a manifestation of the Lord going forth. You're going to see it. You're going to see the Lord going forth, and you're going to see the glory of God. You're going to see him do something crazy, okay? And it's going to be amazing. And it says he will rouse up his zealous indignation and vindication. Well, it took me back to this vision I had of the Lord in the desert, and he was holding up both hands, and he looked angry. When I first got the vision, I even talked to Michelle about it. I was like, I don't know if that was a vision from the Lord, because he looked really angry. He looked angry, and he was just going, "Rah!" And then all this rain was pouring down, and the rain was pouring down so intensely. I felt like I was literally under a waterfall of rain. I could barely see the Lord. He was right there in front of me, maybe 10 feet away from me, but it was so much rain I could barely see him. But I knew it was a good thing that was happening, and it was confusing because I was like, man, this is amazing, and this is good, and I can see, why are you angry? And then I learned he is angry in a sense, but it's like it's his vindication face. You know what I'm saying? That's his like indignation face. It's like, now I'm going to pour out on my people, And it says, yes, he will shout aloud. He will do mightily against his enemies. We would see 340 all the time. 340. I'm like, that's a weird number. That's like the Lord trying to get our attention. That's not a 888 or a 717 or a 555 or something, or a 44. You can keep them 444s though. No, I'm just kidding. But 340. And so when we looked that up, we found that it was H340, and it was only mentioned that one time. And it's about the Lord being an enemy against your enemies, against his people's enemies. Yeah. Right? Yes. And that reference can be found in Exodus 23:22. Also, when the Lord said, I will gasp and pant together, it reminded me of the Isaiah 66, 6 through 9, which Joe had just talked about in the last video about like, hey, I'm not going to bring to the moment of birth and then not bring forth. I'm going to bring forth. And it's like, all right, cool. Well, what are you going to bring forth, Lord? Well, first of all, I'm gonna take, I will lay waste the mountains and hills and dry up their herbage. I was like, well, hold on. I thought you were going to like turn the deserts into pools, and you were going to reverse captivity and all that stuff. And the Lord's like, I am going to do that for you. But those who trust in their mountains and their hills, I'm going to dry their stuff up. All the herbage that grows on that mountain, I'm just dry it up. And the rivers, in the pools, they trust in those rivers, that river and that flow of, fame and fortune or whatever it is, prestige and power. I'm going to dry it up completely. There's not going to be nothing there. And I'm going to redirect it. Ooh, getting ahead of myself. And then that reminded me of Isaiah 40 verse 4 and Isaiah 45 verse 2, which basically carry the idea of leveling the mountains and raising up the valleys and just making everything level, so that there's no idols.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, you know what I'm saying? And basically, I will bring the blind by a way that they know not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. That has literally been our whole journey up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, have you ever known this before?
No.
Doing a YouTube channel and that's your ministry, and then you actually raise support for it. All that stuff that we do. It's like, wow, I have not known this path before.
No.
I thought I did. Oh yeah, well I know how to raise support. I know about that. Not like this.
No.
This is not the path. There's just so much of it. It's like, wow, Lord, you've already done that to us. You've already turned darkness into light for us. And it's like, I feel like Lord's like, I'm getting ready to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting ready to, it's like a reversing of captivity. I feel like the Lord gave me a word a while ago. When was it again?
2017, May.
May of 2017. It's time for everything to be reversed. That's the last time I got an it's time word, I believe. Maybe not. Don't. I'm gonna hit that administrator trigger button. Oh no, wait a minute. Let's go back through the annals of history.
Yes, the filing cabinets are open now.
Your brain will be like, no, stop that. Stop. Wait, stop. No, hold on. I might have messed up, but hold on. But anyway, I got that word. It's time for everything to be reversed. And I feel like what the Lord's going to do with the birth of these promises is fulfill the completion of what he started back then. Back then, he's like, okay, it's time for me to do my great big feast. And then he went out and he started shopping and he started getting stuff. And it's like, well, where's the great big feast? Well, I'm working on it right now. And it's like, oh, you're working? I thought it was going to happen. I thought you said, it's time for a feast. Boom, here it is. It's like, well, nope. It's like, I want you to go with me throughout the whole process. You're going to love it. But eventually you get to the point where you do eat. Mm-hmm. Eventually you get to the point where it's like the feast is ready. I've made everything good. All right, let's go. Let's bring you in. Let's usher you in. I feel like that's the point we're at right now, where the Lord's like, I'm getting ready to usher you in. And it's going to reverse your captivity. It's going to be the finalization of the completion, which will actually be the manifestation of a new beginning. Mm-hmm. You see how the end is the beginning? The end of one thing is the beginning of another. You see what I'm saying? Am I going too far here? Oh, I'm about to go a lot farther. Anyway, and so for the people of God, that's what's getting ready to happen. And it reminded me of Malachi 4:2. But unto you who revere and worshipfully fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings and his beams, and you shall go forth. Someone say go forth. Come on now. You shall go forth and gambol like calves released from the stall and leap for joy. Now in Malachi 4:1 you see God's judging the wicked, but then in Malachi 4:2 he's blessing the righteous. And we've talked about that quite a bit, and a lot of people have talked about that, about how that's coming, and that's what God's doing, and that's what he's going to be doing. He's going to continue to do that. So for the wicked, yeah, their hills are going to dry up and their herbage and all that stuff's going to be gone. They're going to have nothing, because they're going to be just spiritually destitute and physically, But the Lord's been giving us Isaiah 35 as well, and I wanted to read a couple of those verses for you. It says, the wilderness and dry land shall be glad. Someone say shall be. That's a guarantee. See, some things are a prophetic invitation. Other things are a prophetic guarantee. Like, this is going to happen. You're just going to have to decide what you're going to do about it. The wilderness and dry land shall be glad. The desert shall rejoice and blossom like the rose and autumn crocus. Oh, we looked up crocuses last night.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
They're beautiful. Like tons of colors. Tons
of color. And that's the whole point, right? Mm-hmm. It's like in the desert, there's no color. It's just brown. And even different shades of brown. It's just one shade of brown. That's it. Sand. Yeah. That's what it is. You get a few little tumbleweeds, a little green stuff that you can't even eat. It's just like, desert. That's it. But imagine like all this color and Garden of Eden and paradise rising up from a desert place. You know, that's the Lord's like, that's what I'm going to do. And then he goes on to say, it shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given to it. That's one place. The excellency of Mount Carmel and the plain of Sharon. That's 3 places that will be given to the wilderness. See, all of these places are rich places. They're lush, beautiful places that can provide that color to the wilderness.
Yeah.
And it's like they're all amazing places. And it says here, listen, they shall see the glory of the Lord, the majesty and splendor and excellency of our God.
Yeah.
It says, strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble and tottering knees. I mean, get your faith and your hope up. This is going to happen, people. Say to those who are of a fearful and hasty heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance. With the recompense of God, he will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap like a hart, and the tongue of the dumb shall sing for joy. Why? Why is all this going to happen? From verse 1 right here to verse 6. Why? For waters shall break forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. That's when you know God's birthing. That's when you know when the water has broke. That's like, ooh, God's birthing something. So that this is really, really happening, you know, and that's what we've been waiting for this whole time. You know, we've been waiting for that. It's like when the Holy Spirit came on the day of Pentecost, that was like boom. That's the waters breaking, man. And there's a new movement now that's it's never gonna be the same as it was. There's a new movement right now on the earth that God just birthed it right here in this upper room, and it's gonna spill out all over the world.
Yeah.
You know. And so, yeah. So, and the burning sand and the mirage shall become a pool. How many of y'all are done with mirages? Stuff you think's going to happen, and you get getting close to that time frame of what you think's going to happen, and then it's just not there. It's like, dang, this is just more sand.
Yeah.
I thought there was supposed to be at least a little oasis or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? Like, what? Lord, what? Ooh, here's the trick. Like, Lord, why didn't you tell me that? Why didn't you tell me that was just a mirage? It's like, well, let's talk about it. See, that's a relationship thing. Only the Lord can answer those questions for you personally.
Yeah.
But it's just like, why did you do that? You know, like, why didn't you? Because I've had many conversations with the Lord like that, but it all becomes personal stuff that doesn't really go well on a video without telling the whole story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it says the burning sand, mirage become a pool. Okay, and the thirsty ground, springs of water, and the haunt of jackals, where they lay resting, because it's so dry and dead there, shall be grass with reeds and rushes. Woohoo! And it goes on to say other cool things. But it's like basically you can see a divine reversing there. That the Lord's like, that's what's going to be happening. And there's a lot of talk in what the Lord's saying with this. It's like basically it's going to be a time of singing and rejoicing. He starts off verse 1 with they're going to rejoice and it's going to blossom. There's going to be much abundant singing and rejoicing. So rejoice. And so then that took me to Jeremiah 33:11. Oh my word. How many times have I been seeing 11:33? Like crazy. I'm like, Lord, you're giving us a ton of numbers. I'm telling you, it has been a prophetic number extravaganza lately the past couple weeks. And it's like a lot of times we share our videos and we get the revelation that we get that God was leading us to, but a lot of times it comes from some sort of prophetic number that God's like, hello. It's like kind of like a light on the dashboard of your car. You're going, whoa, what's going on? Oh, we're low on fuel. Okay, we better get to the gas station. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what those symbols and signs are there for. And you see it and you know what that means, right? And so get 11:33, and a lot of times as you develop in this language that God speaks to you, and as you develop in just knowing the Lord, you will begin to advance in your understanding of things. And then the Lord will it's like training a horse. You know, you say a sound as you're pulling the horse this way, and then you say another sound as you pull the horse this way, and eventually you get to the point where you just say the sound and you have to pull it all. But that takes time and training and all that. But anyway, Jeremiah 33:11, speaking of rejoicing. There shall be heard again. That means there was a time when it wasn't heard.
Yeah.
Okay? There shall be heard again the voice of joy and the voice of gladness. Woohoo! The voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride. The voices of those who sing as they bring sacrifices of thanksgiving into the house of the Lord. Not sacrifices of bull and blood and death, but sacrifices of life. Saying, give praise and thanks to the Lord of hosts, for the Lord is good, for his mercy and kindness and steadfast love endure forever. For I will cause the captivity of the land to be reversed and return to be as it was at first, says the Lord. Meaning a land, maybe the hearts individually, but the hearts of the nation that say, like in America here, one nation under God. Like we're under God. God is our authority. That's who we bow down to. We know that not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody's going to be Christian and all that stuff. But the authority that we recognize is going to be the Lord. Even David, when he was elevated to be king, not everybody under his kingdom cared about God. You can be Israel. It's just like, yeah, that's my family name and everything. I'm from the tribe of Naphtali, but okay, whatever. What can I get for myself? I'm struggling here. Help me out. And then as David becomes king and exercises the judgment of God, it's just like, wow, I like his way of doing things. It's like, well, it's not my way, it's God's way. Do you want to know the Lord? Well, maybe I could open my heart up to him. See, prosperity in the right hands leads to people actually knowing the Lord, not like disrespecting the Lord. But that's a whole nother series of videos. But anyway, Psalm 50 verse 23, he who brings an offering of praise and thanksgiving honors and glorifies me. And he who orders his way aright, who prepares the way that I may show him, to him will I demonstrate the salvation of God. So there's a lot of praise and rejoicing and just submitting yourself to the Lord for his goodness, and then he leads you into the path of salvation. And here's another thing. Behold, Isaiah 43:19. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive and know it? And will you not give heed to it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. And that's why the Isaiah 35 nation of God in that time is going to be rejoicing, because he's going to streams. It's funny because you think about income when you get into the financial culture. They always talk about that, streams of income, because you got to flow. They use words like streams and flow and stuff like that. And it's just like, wow, that's very watery type terms. It's like, because that's what it's like. You just got to, it's like, because what they'll teach you is like, listen, the money's out there. You just got to figure out a way to create a funnel and create a fissure and a channel to get it to you. That's what you got to do. We got a channel, what I'm saying? But ultimately, our water provider is the Lord. He provides water. He provides for us, in so many different ways. It's just like, thank you, Lord. But when you're thinking about national government and stuff like that, it's like, the Lord himself provides for all of his people. Kind of like Jesus providing for the 5,000 men, not including women and children, with 5 loaves and 2 fish. So... And so this is what I want to do now. I want to give you guys another little prophetic numbers extravaganza, okay? Because it has been happening lately, right?
Yeah.
We've been getting these 3 numbers. Now listen, let's do a little thing about numbers. You can get 55, that'll mean something. Or you keep seeing the number 7. Like, man, I keep seeing the number 7. 777, 717, 818. I keep seeing the number 700. I keep seeing, those might be numbers that you might commonly see because you might see them on a license plate or the clock or something like that. But when you start seeing numbers like 941, stuff like that, it's like there are these what we call burning bush numbers, meaning they're like God is really trying to get your attention and show you something here, and he's doing it in a weird, unorthodox way so that he can get your attention. Because if he does it in maybe the normal, run-of-the-mill way, you might miss the deeper meaning of it. You know what I mean? And so I am not kidding you. I have been seeing we've been seeing 941 like crazy. Like crazy. Even saw it yesterday on a box that we've owned for like years. And I'm like, oh my God, Michelle, look at what time is on the computer, on the box. and it was 9:41 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm like, I about fell out on the bed that's right behind me. I'm like, Lord Jesus, what what is going on? And it's like it gets highlighted to you, right? That's one of them, okay? Another number that is just an insane number to be seeing all the time everywhere. I challenge you to go out and try to find it even. But it's like the number 4440, that number. Now you can look at it and be like, oh, that's a 444 with a 0 on it. No, it's a 4440, right? It's just like, what in the world? I was looking up something the other day. I was like, oh, wow, we haven't seen this How to Train Your Dragon Homecoming episode before. And, you know, Joe, he loves How to Train Your Dragon. I'm like, oh, let me go research it or something. And it was like, oh, this has 4.4 views from 40 reviews. I lost it because it was about the 10th time I saw it in like 3 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Lord, what are you doing? And we had already looked it up, but he's like, and we figured out what it was, or you did. I don't do that stuff. Anyway, I'm just kidding. You got an administrator, you know, use your administrator.
You looked up both those.
I did?
Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on. I'm wrong again. You better get used to it in this household. Anyway, being wrong is good. It's called making a mistake. You learn from them. Anyway. But yeah, so 4440, that was a number. And then 933. We've been seeing, I was just like, oh my gosh. So again, I'm telling you, I'm condensing all of this for you. And I'm just like, wow, we have got to figure out what this means. So I looked up 941, and this is what it says. It's and they were all the Greek, because sometimes the number is directed toward the what is it in the Greek and the Hebrew, you know? And in the Greek, all of these will be Greek. G941 is to take up with the hands. And it's used 23 times. 23, the number of death and resurrection. Anyway, to take up with the hands, to take up in order to carry or bear, to put upon oneself something to be carried, to bear what is burdensome, to bear, to carry. You get the idea. To support, to hold up. You know, so the bottom line is like, it's like, but I like that part, to take up with the hands, really stuck out to me because it reminded me of that vision, you know, and the Lord's been speaking to us since early 2018, even before we moved here, that he was going to scoop us up with both hands and carry us to the place that he wanted us to be. And we were like, okay, cool. I got that in June of 2017. December of 2017, he literally scooped us up it was a miracle. Literally. We were like 2 days away from just a like, this has to happen or it doesn't. Either we've heard from the Lord or we're about to be in some serious trouble that the Lord's going to have to deliver us from, because, and then there were two options that we had to go, well, why don't we go stay here until we figure out what the Lord's doing. The Lord's like, no, I'm right here. You can hear God. Thank you very much. And it's like, you just, he closed those two doors. I mean, and it was like, hey, don't go there.
Yeah.
Right? Well, little guy woke up, so there may be some more edit points here. But the Lord was doing that, right? He shut off all the doors for us to go anywhere or do anything else. And a miracle happened where he just picked us up. That was a financial miracle, to be totally honest. This is literally what we're waiting for right now. I don't know if that's too much information. If it is, I'll edit it out. But that's the truth, right? We're waiting for the power, waiting for the ability to go and do what the Lord wants us to do, like many of you are. Let's get real about it. A lot of the things that the Lord wants us to do cost money. That's the truth. Why are we so afraid to talk about that in the body of Christ? There's so many dumb things we're afraid to talk about because we think it's not right to talk about or it's not good or something. But it's like, if God gives you a vision, he's got to give you the provision for the vision. You know, it's like what he did with David, like what he did with Solomon. It's a quite normal thing. Like what we do every day. God gives us provision to do this vision that he has for us, which is this blind way that we're going that we do not know. Oh, say hi, Isaiah. Say hello. Anyway, and so basically, if you look at 4440, he's going to be a part of the video today. Oh, you guys get two kids. One the last time, then one this time. Anyway. a blessing for those who've made it this far. But if you look up the word 4440 in the Greek, it means a large gate of a palace, the front part of a house, into which one enters through the gate. And then 933 is royal, kingly, or regal, which comes from 1 Peter 2:9. How many times were we getting the 129 like crazy? And it was God's like, you are a royal people. You are a royal. You are, you know what I mean? He was using that. So that's where we get this idea. But of the Lord himself is getting ready to pick us up and remove us and carry us away through the gate and the front door of his house into his royal palace, into his court, right? Because it kind of goes back to the original vision that we got in 2017 of us standing before those banquet doors, and then the Spirit of God comes and literally lifts us up as the door blows open. And this is why it's better doing videos when he's sleeping. But so that's kind of where we get that idea. Like it's the we feel like that's, you talk about a river, a flow, rivers in the desert. It's not just financial flow or even relational flow man to man. It's the flow of the Spirit of God into the heart of man. That's the golden flow right there. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, that's what we feel like, that's what God's saying. That's the flow of the Spirit. It's like he himself is getting ready to pick us, and he's getting ready to fulfill that palace door vision. And that's why it says here, the fulfillment of many visions, promises fulfilled, desires granted, dreams born, the patiently waiting no longer. Oh, I need to get my Bible. So on that part where it's talking about the waiting, where is it? The patiently waiting no longer. I was reminded of these scriptures right here. It comes from Luke chapter 18, verses 1 through 8. It's very familiar. It's about the widow and the unjust judge. And the Lord's like, consider the widow and the unjust judge. It's like, come on, God is a just judge, but look what the unjust judge did for the one who kept coming, And so verse 7, it says, and will not our just God defend and protect and avenge? Remember that vengeance and that vindication. He's going to come forth with that vengeance and vindication. The first avenger is Jesus. Anyway, and he's going to avenge his elect, his chosen ones, who cry to him day and night. That means there's something that you're needing, you're wanting, you're desperate for. You're in that Hannah position of crying out and going, God, and you're just not getting it. It's not happening, but not getting it has not stopped you. It's just, I'm going to keep going until I get it. And the Lord's like, that time is over. That time has come. Where it's like, I'm done. I'm getting ready to answer some prayers. It's like, will he defer them and delay help on their behalf? What is the Lord saying there? He's like, what is he going to delay and defer help on their behalf forever? It's like, no, he's not going to do it forever. I know that's what it feels like, but don't believe that. That's not true. He's not going to wait forever. There's going to come a time. And Jesus said, I tell you, he will defend and protect and avenge them speedily. When you think about these three characters, Mordecai, Joseph, and David, Mordecai was just doing his thing, and then he was elevated because of something he did 2 years ago that he might have even forgotten at that point. Yeah. Joseph, he was elevated for something that he did 2 years ago that he might have even forgot by that point, about the interpretation of the, and David, how can you forget? You're David, you're not going to forget what Samuel prophesied over you. No. That's been haunting you this whole time. It's been the source of grief in your heart this whole time for 13, 14 years or whatever it was. It's just like, it's been such a source of grief. And so, but you had something really cool that you wanted to bring out about those three examples. Well,
I just was thinking about Mordecai, Joseph, and even David, but specifically Mordecai and Joseph. It was Joseph was elevated, and the Lord used him in that position to save the nation of Israel, because they were, when the famine hit, they were able to come to Egypt because Joseph was there. But then even with Mordecai, he saved, it was through Esther and all of that, but then Mordecai was the one, he wrote the law and sealed it with the king's ring that was sent out for the nation of Israel to be saved.
Uncle Mordecai.
And yeah, and I think even with David, there was a sense of saving Israel because when he was put into place, he was bringing forth the government of God, whereas
which had been just destroyed under Saul.
Yeah.
People were like, when the wicked are in charge, the people groan. There was a lot of groaning at that point.
Yeah.
And with the death of Saul, there probably would have been just a complete scattering of the people.
Mm-hmm.
But God's like, no, I'm not going to scatter you. I'm going to bring you together under the greatest kingdom ever.
Yeah. And so I was actually earlier today, I saw that Lana Vosser had come out with a word, and I don't think I even finished reading the whole thing. But the first part of it, though, it was really talking about, one, the attack of the enemy, which is so true. He's just relentless. But then second was that these people, like the remnant people, she said when we were just going, like we had these wheelbarrows going in our lanes and basically like...
I like how you call it wheelbarrows. You from the South. Are you from the South? Where they got them wheelbarrows?
Yeah. No, I was raised in Southern California.
Well, there you go.
So,
there you have it.
Close enough to the South.
There you go.
But anyway, but she was just talking about ultimately that there was the rain coming down from heaven, but it was really ended up being gold, and it was just, I loved reading it.
And it was filling up the wheelbarrows,
and then
right?
it was being tipped and poured out upon the land to bring healing, and it was for healing for nations. And honestly, even the Lord talks about in Revelation how there's the tree of life, and there's the fruit and the leaves are for the healing of the nations.
Wow.
And so I'm just seeing here where it's like those examples that the Lord was giving was for the healing of the nation, his nation.
Come on.
And I just believe that as a remnant people, like when God comes through, he's breaking through for us, but he's also breaking through for the healing of nations.
Yeah.
Like even for the United States, that's where we live. And it's like, like you were saying, it originally was one nation under God. And
indivisible.
And it's like the Lord's like, I want to bring healing back to this nation where that is actually very true again, and going forth, but it's going to come through his people, and through his people receiving the revelation of himself, so that we can flow with the Spirit of God, so that the Spirit of God would go forth and it would change things. The nation would be touched. Like you said, it's like, when the righteous are in charge, it's like, oh, let's come.
Rejoice.
There's a drawing. There's a
there
rejoicing.
Shall be rejoicing again.
And so I just believe that's really part of the heart of the Lord, of just like, he wants to bring healing to the nations, and he's going to do it through the Mordecais and the Josephs and the Davids that he's going to be raising up, and he's going to be putting into position where it's like, all right,
and the Abrahams and Sarahs.
Exactly.
You're going to take care of childrens.
Yes. And but
that's a funny way of saying children.
But it's like, that's what the Lord is doing. He's like, I'm going to bring people up so that things can change, so that my ways can be established, which is really what this whole year is about. It's about the Lord establishing his ways. And so, it is time. It is time for the Lord. He's like, I'm going to raise up. I am going to bring my people up. I'm going
for me to give birth.
Yeah, I'm going to give birth so that my ways can be established upon the nations of the earth, because it's not just here. God's talking about, the remnant people, we're all over the world.
Yep.
And he's like, in every nation that people, your feet are in, it's like, that's where the Lord wants to have an impact. He's like, where do you live? Yes, I'm saying I want to claim your nation for me, for my name.
Because the Lord's like, well, where do I live? Right in here. I live right there. That's where I live. So I'm seated on the throne. I want to go this way. Come on, let's go. I want to do this. Okay, let's go.
And so that's just kind of what I was getting with that, of just like the Lord's heart to really just change, bring healing and restoration to the land.
Can I trigger you?
Yeah. Sure.
Dreams born.
Oh, yes, that's right. So pretty much every time, because we went over, not all of this, but quite a bit of it during our own God time with the kids. And even when
You want me to keep this up?
yeah,
Okay.
Devin read this morning, it just every
I'll take
time
it.
I've been hearing it, it just hits my heart, and it's
But the fulfillment of many visions, promises fulfilled, desires granted, dreams born.
And every time I heard dreams born, and I know, of course, born, you always think of babies, but I really was feeling like it was just like dreams born. There are so many people, I believe, that their dream is to have children.
Yeah.
And I just believe that is a huge part of it. God is talking about physically giving birth to dreams, giving birth, and the dream being a child.
Yeah.
You know,
kind of like Hannah.
Yeah,
That's
just like Hannah.
That was her dream, to have an actual child.
And so I was just thinking about that, because I think, we do have dreams that will be born, in the sense of I really want to be a writer, I really want to be a, teacher, whatever it is. And it's like the Lord's I'm going to give birth to those. But there is just something that, I don't know, it just I think hit my own heart personally of just yes, dreams born, speaking to the dreams of having children and those children actually being born going forth. Well, I think that's really all that we have for you guys today. We do pray that
I think that's enough, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think the cup is full.
Hey, you got to talk.
I did at the end. At
some point, you did talk. It was amazing.
But we do just pray that you guys were blessed by this, that you just know that the Lord is coming. He is going to bring his vindication. He's it's time. He's ready to give birth. And so the
Lord just came to me. He was like, it's time.
It's time.
So quiet, so here we go.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, Lord, what's getting ready to happen? I don't know, but let's see it.
Yes. But so just know that God is coming on your behalf, and that he has his plans are huge. And so just continually hold fast to what you have and believe the Lord for what he has spoken in your life. And until next time, we will see you guys later.
Yeah.
All
Love
right.
you guys.
Bye.
Bye.